Welcome back to Marquee Backstage. I'm your host, Julie Milam. Our musical guest today calls Kentucky home, but feels most comfortable on stages just like this. With a traditional country sound and a soulful bluegrass flair, you guys better get ready because this is Sydney Adams. Sydney, welcome to Marquee Backstage. I'm excited to have you.
I'm so glad to be here, really. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Why don't we go back and talk about your very first time that you saw live music performed? Do you remember that?
Yeah, the first live concert I ever went to, my friend actually took me to see Kelly Clarkson. It was nothing to do with my career now, but I'd never been to a concert, and she took me there, so.
What did you think of that experience?
It was really cool. We went up to Louisville. I hadn't gotten out much at that age, so it was a very neat first experience.
Did you look around and look at the response and the reaction from the people in the crowd to her on that stage? Did that look different to you?
Yeah, at that age, I probably didn't realize that I really wanted to do music, but I had a blast. I was only 12 years old, I think, so.
So what was your first introduction to music, playing it or writing it yourself?
Playing and writing, I began doing both of those at about 15 years old.
Okay. And who introduced you to it? Was music in your family as a child?
So everyone always asks me if any of my family members played growing up, because I'm from southeastern Kentucky. A lot of people grow up playing in church, or their dad and grandpa play together in a bluegrass band or anything like that, but that's not the case with me. We just grew up loving music, but not necessarily country music. Mm-hmm. My mom loves Motown and Rick James and Prince. My dad loved anything that he could hear on the radio. But when I started writing and singing songs that were more true to me, I truly realized what I wanted to be, and it happened fairly quickly. I kind of fell into it.
So where do you think the exposure came that drew you in to the genre of music that suits you the most naturally?
When I first started playing and writing, I kind of had a mentor who was teaching me to play guitar, and his name is Darren Nichols, and he introduced me to a song called You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive. And I was about 15 years old, and I had just a very small 3-piece bluegrass band, and we played on the weekends sometimes, and we'd play that song out. And I knew from the first couple times that I sang it that it was just so suitable for my voice, and I felt it at a level that I'd never even truly experienced myself. I can't really explain it, but I felt it deep within myself, and
it felt like home.
From then on, yeah, that's what I stuck with, and it just kind of came out that way too.
Yeah, it's exactly how it was meant to be.
Yes.
So tell me about the 3-piece. How did you decide to start playing music publicly and put together your own band at 15 years old?
So Darren kind of orchestrated that as well, the man I mentioned a second ago. He was teaching me to play guitar. He fully believed in me, my vocals, and he really wanted to help nurture that. And he was teaching some other students how to play bass and mandolin and banjo and all that stuff. So he took a bass student and a mandolin student and put us together, and they could sing harmonies, and we got to do some pretty cool things. And I didn't even realize it at the time. My mom had to remind me that we got to open for Ricky Skaggs when I was 15.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I didn't even remember that. So
you were probably nervous at 15,
yeah,
and
sure.
You weren't thinking about the bill on the show that you were playing.
I was more concerned with my friends who were coming to see me, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
At 15, that would make total sense.
Change your mind. Feels like you really done this time.
if I watch you go, I'll lose the biggest part of me. I wanted to let you know those things I said I didn't mean it. If you would just turn around, I'll make it up to you. Come back to this hollow ground. There's nothing I wouldn't do. If you come back, I'll wait. Forever you can stay. You'll never have to leave me again. Never have to leave me again. You said it's over. Oh, ain't it, baby? If that's your final answer, I ain't ready to take it. Can't imagine these four walls without you. How can the love that I recall become something you outgrew? Well, if you would just turn around, I'll make it up to you. Come back to this hollow ground. There's nothing I wouldn't do. Well, if you come back, I'll wait. Forever you can stay. You'll never have to leave me again. Never have to leave me again. Never have to leave me again.
Let me lock this right on now.
So once you kind of got the feel for performing live and the reaction that the audience has to your performance, how did that make you grow as a musician?
It was very nerve-wracking putting myself out there as a songwriter and even as a vocalist performer, all of it. I was terrified the first time I performed. Was 12 years old, and I was wearing a sweatsuit, and I did a karaoke competition because my mom begged me to do it, and I was standing up there the entire time grasping my pants on each side. It was full fist because I was so scared, and I ended up winning it.
That's great.
So that was like the moment of a little bit of confidence in myself, but I was still terrified. And it has taken, honestly, up to the last year and a half to be fully confident in my playing and my performing. So I'm finally over that.
Okay, good.
But-
well, you should be because you're incredibly talented.
Well, thank you.
It sounds like there's a lot of support from home.
Yes, a lot. I'm very fortunate.
So were there years of coaxing and encouragement before that 12-year-old karaoke competition? Or was it spur of the moment and she said, oh, go up there and try it?
It was a very spur of the moment thing. I think that they didn't realize that it was going on at a fair fairly close to where I'm from, and my mom kind of begged me to do it and invited some family to come because they thought it would be, good for me, which it was, but I didn't want to do it. And she was like, just do it for your mama. She's going to come. And I said, okay, yeah, I'll do it.
Guilt trip.
Yes.
So from there, I guess she was the one who encouraged you to take lessons and start getting
Yes.
some professional training?
Absolutely. My mom has always supported me. My dad, too. If he's going to watch this, he would be upset if I did not mention him because he's been just as supportive. But if there was anything put into when I was 12 and didn't know anything about it, or 15 and didn't know who to reach out to, my mom's the one that looked the phone number up, called the guy, set it up, paid for the lesson, drove me there once a week, all of it. So, and then now, they still go with me and they live for it.
That's
So,
incredible that you have these moments together, but you're making memories that you can cherish for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to other singer-songwriters who want to do what you're doing and they're 12 or or they're 15 and they want to enter a karaoke competition or they want to form a band and they don't have the support at home, what would you say to them?
Just do it. If that's what you want to do, if you're that young and you know that that's what you want to do, then practice. And then when you're old enough, go for it. Absolutely go for it. You can do it yourself. It's very, very doable. I know a lot of people that don't have support, and they're doing just as well or, better than me. So
Right. Have there been moments in your head where you doubted your own potential?
yes, I think that just comes with the trade.
Yes.
You have an off performance, or you can't finish this song, or you butcher a song because you're not at the top of your game, or you're feeling under the weather, just anything. There's so many different moving pieces that if one thing doesn't go right, there goes your self-confidence, you know.
Right.
So, or you don't get the crowd response, that you're expecting, or anything like that. So I think you have to truly be confident and true to yourself within that to accept any outcome and be ready for it.
Absolutely. And you really hit on something important, which was crowd response, because you're very vulnerable putting yourself out there hoping for acceptance from the audience, whether it's just a listening audience that is downloading music or if it's a live audience, you're hoping that they accept you and support you.
Right.
But the way that you end your day is dependent on how you're received.
Right. And to go with that, being true to yourself and believing in yourself is learning to not be so dependent on that outcome, and then it doesn't matter because you're gonna do it anyway.
Ruined the best thing that I ever had. Watch it happen, didn't think it'd be this bad. And I never really wanted to be alone, but I should have seen it coming all along. I really thought I loved you. Never thought I'd be the one to hurt you. I broke your heart, and I led you on, and I brought you down. Now I'm left spinning round and around. The pain sets in, and tears start falling. It's when it all begins, and I start calling. Well, it hits me when I see our old friends around. Makes me realize how much I'm broken down now that you're gone. I call your name in this empty house. Makes me realize I'm the only one around. Still need you to this day. Don't even know why I pushed you away, and I broke your heart. And I led you on, and I brought you down. Now I'm left spinning round and around. The pain sets in, when the tears start falling. It's when it all begins, and I start
One of my songs that I'm going to be doing is one one of my favorite ones, and it's not from personal experience, but it is special to me just for the simple fact of I performed it out a lot lately, in the last year especially, and the women that come up to me and tell me how it's impacted them, or it's a murder ballad about domestic violence.
Okay.
So even though I've not been through that myself, other people have absolutely been through that. And so when they come up to me and tell me how they've been impacted by my song, or they come up to me with tears in their eyes, or just there's no greater feeling as an artist than to be able to make that connection with someone, and that moment each time is what makes everything worth it.
Most definitely. I mean, that is the beauty of your craft, is being able to connect and touch people through your talent. So I'm grateful that you've been able to do that, and I love to hear the reception that you get to see.
Thank you.
From the way that you touch people.
Thank you.
So from the time you started writing music to now, how do you think your style has changed as a writer?
So when I first started writing, I was 15 years old. It was just country, kind of folky country. And then I went to bluegrass music school, and I went to the Kentucky School of Bluegrass and Traditional Music. And so I was surrounded by some of the best musicians that I've ever heard that may or may not even be playing still, but they were the best. Then it was in Hyden, Kentucky, and a lot of the students were from Hyden. And just, I can't really say this enough, like the talent that comes from southeastern Kentucky and that part of southeastern Kentucky is just so immense. But at the time I was in Hyden going to school, and my style was pretty bluegrass. If you listen to some of my earlier stuff that was written and recorded first on my very first EP, it's extremely bluegrass. Coming to the end of the EP, we're kind of doing a little bit more country, and then my single released from my second EP, is leans more towards like modern country, and then I'm kind of easing back into the folkier side of Kentucky country, and that's the best way that I can explain it, is Kentucky country, because that's what it's a folky, Americana, traditional, everything country.
It is Sydney Adams through and through. It is so incredible, and I love that we're sharing it today. So what about the future? What do you think there is left? You have a long career ahead of you, but what are some of the pinnacles of your career that you would really like to accomplish?
I think every artist has some goals in mind, and I like to keep my goals pretty achievable, because you'll be disappointed otherwise. But short term, I would love to be on tour with an artist that is a tour musician, and it doesn't have to be someone like Luke Combs or someone massive that everyone would recognize. Someone who's doing it at a level, just higher than myself, and then we'll go from there. But I think that's very doable. There's several artists that I would love to be on tour with, and I think that that's very doable.
I think absolutely that's doable. What about a venue? Do you have a dream venue that you would really love to perform in that space?
Any music hall or theater.
Okay.
Those are my favorites.
You have a background in theater.
Yes, that's where I got my start. As I mentioned to you earlier, writing and guitar lessons began in Pineville, Kentucky at the Bell Theater. So theaters do have a soft spot, in my heart, but they just have the best sound. They do. I love the feel. I love the sound.
Yeah, and your Name in Lights looks great too.
There you go.
You can't beat that.
No.
So if there's one thing that you've learned about this business that you wish you knew when you started, what would it be?
Don't be so quick to accept help from just anyone.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because they will spin it like they're helping you, but truly you're helping them.
Until he passed out from the liquor, pulled my finger tight against the trigger, struck a